welcome back to Inktoberfest Day 3. So today we are here with my favorite things, and if you know anything about Hedgehog Hollow, you will know I'm a big MFT junkie. I'm usually hiding my purchases from Greg, and suddenly his ears just pricked up. But today I am sharing with you the new Colorburst trios. So they just released some Ken Oliver Colorburst, and we're going to be playing with them because Inktoberfest is about expanding that definition of ink, I guess. And my favorite things was one of the first brands I bought when I was exploring hybrid inks. They kind of introduced me to the idea of hybrid. I had all of their hybrid inks. I had all the colors. And I guess I was kind of sad when they discontinued many of those colors. They're now only in the neutrals. They still have this Extreme Black, which is one of my favorite blacks. I still love my amalgam, don't get me wrong. But the reason I like the Extreme Black is it is the best ink when working with the Brother Scan and Cut. The Extreme Black is super black. There is such a thing as super black, it's a term. And it works really, really well with the Brother Scan and Cut. So if you have a Scan and Cut and you like using it, my recommendation for black ink is the MFT Extreme Black. Now, as part of Inktoberfest, every day we have giveaways, and MFT have outdone themselves with giveaways. So you want to check out that blog post as to where they're going to be. They also have a coupon code for you. So if you want to go and grab any of the things I'm going to show you today, you can check that out in the blog post, in the YouTube description, all of those things. So Joe, check that out too. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, join the perks community, and join our subscription box. All of those fun things. Details will be in that YouTube description, in the blog post, all of those kinds of things. But I want to try out these Colorbursts, gives you some top tips and play around with them. So let's grab today's tag. And every day we're just using regular Avery tags. I've been linking them up in the supply lists. And what we're going to be doing is on the back, we've been writing our tips, what day it is, because this is in a playlist. So you can subscribe to that playlist too. And then also you'll know what tips we've been using. And then you can refer back to, and at the end, you'll have 30-ish tags, depending on how many we create each day, that you can go back and refer to later on. So if you've never played with a Colorburst before, they're so much fun because they have multiple colors inside. They have two different color trios that they've got out at the moment. There's this one which is called Sunrise. There's also a nighttime one which is like blues and greens. It's really, really pretty. This one includes raspberry, orange zest, and lemon drop. And there's lots of different things you can do. There's some tips on the back. I love Colorburst. They're one of my favorite things. And again, there's a couple of different ways you can experiment with them. My favorite way is to always put a little bit of water down first. And I like using that Nuvo Light Mist bottle. Again, you can kind of do it different ways, but you'll see it's a fine pigment powder. But the reason I like putting water down first is it captures that pigment. It's going to, in the long term, stop you getting so much mess. And Greg is all about the lack of mess. He's nodding his head at me. Yes. But so now I'm putting down some of the orange, and then I'm going to put down some of the pink raspberry. So you can see I've kind of got a little bit of every colour on here. Some of it has started to activate, some of it not. And then we can just go in with our spray bottle. And you see how that starts to activate. I can take my Heat It tool and start to dry some of that off. And within each colour there are multiple colours. And the reason I'm using the Heat It tool, so you can see in here there's a little bit of blue. Is it's going to, so the reason it's curling up is because of the water saturating my paper. But the reason I use the Heat It tool over the Wagner Heat tool is because the Heat It tool doesn't actually move any of my water around. It's literally just drying because of the airflow in it. Whereas if I use my Wagner Heat tool, it's going to move everything around. So I'm going to move this onto a dry patch, and then it's going to kind of relax out. Just like that. And see all those pretty, pretty designs that I get in there? And in my top drawer here, I keep a funnel, just like a washcloth. And I'm going to just clean off my surface here. And I'll give it a really good clean after. But it just kind of gets the worst of it off. Just so that we can keep working. And I could reactivate this too. So if you do this and you're like, actually, I want to like spread some of that out and I don't want it so fine over here, you see how I can reactivate that, and it's always going to be reactivated by water. So if you want to stop reactivating it, maybe you want to send this in the mail and you're worried that it's going to get reactivated, pop some sealant on it. Microglaze is perfect, the Tim Holtz microglaze. But first of all, make sure that you are done. If you want to stamp over the top of it with dye inks, you're going to want to make sure you don't put your microglaze on till afterwards. Because otherwise you're only going to be able to stamp with archival inks. So just kind of think about your processes first of all. Just a couple of top tips in there. So kind of think about that first of all. But look, really, really pretty colours. Love how these colours are turning out. I'm going to dry it on the back as well. I'm going to just pop these to the side for a second. But I do love how these come out. These ones do not have any mica in. They are just plain Colorburst. Okay. So as I say, I can reactivate these as many times as I want just by adding more water layers. Now this is pretty dry now. You'll notice I'm working on my glass mat. You could also work on an easy clean mat if you wanted to as well. Now Tonic always co-host Inktoberfest with me, so there is a Tonic code running all month long if you want to grab things like the spray bottles and those kinds of things. I'm going to stamp some images over the top to finish this off. And this is the MFT Poppy Blooms. I really wanted the Poppy Blooms background, but it was out of stock. So I went with the individual Poppy Blooms instead, because these looked really, really pretty. And I thought they'd go perfectly over the top of these Colorbursts. And I'm going to use probably my Extreme Black, but I did also grab, when I was shopping there, some of the dye inks which come in these cubes. So I have lots of different colors here, so you could try out some different colors. Bear in mind, if you wet them, they're going to react because they're dye based. The Extreme Black is a hybrid, and we covered off hybrid yesterday. I'm not using a Misty, so I'm being brave. So you can see how pretty is that poppy on the top there. So gorgeous. But again, this Extreme Black is really, really strong. So I'm just... But you can just do part of an image. You don't have to do a whole image. So I'm just... So there you go. I mean, look how beautiful that tag is. And now is when I would microglaze. So if I wanted to, this is when I would start microglazing if that's what I wanted to do on my image. And then it's going to be sealed. I just take some microglaze on one of those daubers, go over the top, and it's completely sealed, waterproofed, everything. So super, super simple. So again, on the back, we're going to write what we did. So we're on day 3, so you can go and find that video again if you wanted to. And it's 2019 because we do this every year. And so this is the MFT Colorburst plus water, and then stamp with Extreme Black. Great with Scan and Cut. So you can write your tips on the back if there's something else that you really picked up as a top tip, and then can be sealed with microglaze to make waterproof. So I'm writing shorthand on there, but you can write however you want. You could type up notes and stick a sticker on the back if you prefer, you know, whatever you want. But isn't that the most gorgeous tag? So this is what we've created so far. We've got that embossing ink through a stencil. We've talked about hybrid inks and how you can paint with those. And now we've created this one. So we're going to build up an amazing repertoire. We're going to have over 30 tags by the end of the month. Lots of new techniques, lots of tips in there. We've now talked about different types of inks and color bursts. As I say, we've got giveaways and coupons for you every single day, so don't forget to check those out too. Come back tomorrow for another tip, trick, technique. Who knows what we'll be making on tomorrow's tag. Plus, we'll have another giveaway for you and coupon as well. I can't wait to see you. Happy Inktoberfest, everyone. Don't forget to share and tag us as well. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.